I'm beautiful and lovely gamers. My name is Jonal. Let's talk about how to reduce your ping in Overwatch and overall in gaming. Now, ping, for just those who don't know, ping is normally just the latency from when you do something until the server registers that you did something. So, for example, if you play Widowmaker in Overwatch and you take a shot and you have, let's say, 125 ms, so milliseconds worth of latency, it would take 125 milliseconds before that shot is registered on the server. Even though it's registered on your screen and you see it, before he takes damage, will take 125 ms plus a little bit extra before the server actually registers that he took some damage. And the same goes for everything you use in a build in Overwatch, like for example the deflect and flashbang combo. You know that, right? And you pop deflect and you have high ping. You might get stunned because, well, the server didn't register that you had deflect up before they register that he used flashbang. So you'll get stunned, and then it will register your deflect, and now deflect is on cooldown, but you still got stunned. There's so many just stupid things that happen due to ping, and while you can play with high ping, you can definitely play with high ping. It's still something that really does handicap you. If they have low ping, you have high. And how can we improve this? Well, there are limitations. Latency cannot go, like a package, which is the data that you send, cannot go faster than the speed of light. And in most cases, it doesn't even do that. So distance is something that is kind of capped on, right? Like you can only send the package so and so fast. The other thing is routing. Most packages that is sent is going through your ISP. So you sit at home and you have an ISP, an internet service provider. And what you do is that, well, when you want to send something to Blizzard, you send it to your ISP and they then see, okay, where is it going? And then they send it to Blizzard. And then there's a billion routes, all kinds of small highways. And if you send, let's say, 100,000 packages, they will go over different routes, all of them. They will just try to find the most effective and shortest path dynamically right now that you can get to Blizzard the fastest possible, and that's what they're trying to do. And that does that well. Your ISP really does limit how fast something goes, because if they have really ineffective routing, then you will have high ms, even though you shouldn't. And if you have, like for example me, who say my internet service provider is insanely good, I have very low and very stable ping because our routes are very good, and I have a good ISP. But I know a lot of people that, for example, that lives in like the outskirts of Finland or the up in the mountains in Norway, away from all forms of civilization almost. They have really shitty ping because the ISP is not prioritizing that area, and it takes ages for them to get anywhere out to the world. So that is what today's software is about. Unless you directly can change your ISP and make them make better routes or get a better route, well, then a software is something to do. And today's video is actually sponsored, and this is my very first sponsorship, by ExitLag. And ExitLag is a software. So imagine that, again, the normal routes that you normally go through your ISP is kind of like the commoners, right? It's a global highway. And ExitLag is kind of like taking a private helicopter and just flying over traffic. You essentially use their own routes, their very specific routes, to get faster through all the clutter and getting to your target faster. And that's essentially what ExitLag provides. It's not a VPN. It's just a more efficient way of getting your routing done to give you a lower ping. And this did actually help a lot. And normally when I play in NA, when I was testing with the software, I was sitting at 172 ms. And as soon as I applied ExitLag, I got 122, meaning a 50 ping reduction, approximately. In Asia, which was the big one, and I'm so glad because I've been working a little bit with Asian teams, I normally sit on 283 ms, which is painfully slow. And with ExitLag applied, I got down to 177, which is 106 in reduction, 106 ms in reduction. That's insane. Now here is where I have to do a disclosure. While running this in EU, where I'm sitting, I normally have 32 to 34 ping. And with ExitLag, it either stayed unaffected, so it didn't do anything, or it actually increased my ms. Some of my friends, which I managed to get a copy to as well, he normally sits on about 60 ms, and again, he had the same results. He got no reduction or even an increase in his ping while using this in EU. We both live in Norway, but we both have different ISPs, and we live in different regions of the country, but both of us was not affected by ExitLag on EU servers, only in Asia and NA servers. So that's something to take into consideration. This software is not for the guy that normally has really good and stable ping. I don't think then that will have any reduction unless you probably live in EU or NA or Asia. Then at least in those regions, it seemed like they were a little bit more supported. But if you live If you have really bad ping, let's say you have 60, 70, 80, 90, you know, that kind of levels of ping, I think Excellite is something that you can do. And don't buy it immediately. There's a 3-day trial with no credit card required. You just make an account, download the software, start it up, and the game should be applying the routing, and boom, you have less ping. You just select what game you have. Excellite supports up to over 240 games, which is insane. That's an insane amount of games. So it has your game. It has Overwatch and everything. So essentially, you go there, you just register on the server, you just make some, and then you just try out a 3-day free trial. And well, if it didn't help you, well, then at least you had stable connection with very little package loss for a short period of time. And if it helped you, well, then you can try to buy it. There's a 20% off if you really like it. If you use the link down below and the Discord account Jonal, which is my very first Discord account, so I'm so hyped to have one. You will save some money. I will make some money. It's over a great deal. So if you're struggling with MS and ping, and it doesn't seem like your ISP can or will do anything about it, you can of course try them and threaten them to switch ISP. That sometimes gets a fire address, but normally they are not that keen on trying to do anything, as it's very complicated. Try out Excellite. 3-day trial, link down in the description, and see if this helps, at least to help me for at least keep stable package loss. That's one of the things when I was playing on EU, while I didn't get a ping decrease, and I actually got sometimes a small increase, I got a very stable no package loss. Like, I barely lost any packages, which I have an issue with. I normally do lose packages, but due to sometimes I get no rags, where I shoot, it registers, but that package got fucking dropped, so I deal no damage, which is the most frustrating thing ever. Because especially when it's like Genji and it's with Dragon Blade, getting a no reg with Dragon Blade is so frustrating. And normally that's because your package dropped. It just lost it. And then it just continues. With Excellite, I got barely any package losses, which was pretty amazing, to be honest. So yeah, check it out down below. Thank you, Excellite, for sponsoring the video. It's the very first sponsor on the channel, which helps me, again, just generally fund university and food and general utilities, which is super, super nice. So do check them out. 3-day trial, all that good stuff. As always, a like on the video do really help out against YouTube's abusive algorithm. Same in the comment down below. Who is your ISP? Like in your country, who's like the big ISP? I only know in Norway that Telenor is like the big one. Telia, which I do believe is practically the same company. Who's a big ISP in your country? Like, who do you use? I think AT&T and what are they called again? T-Mobile are big in the US. I do believe so, but I have no clue, for example, about Asia. So I would like to read that down in the comment section below. As always, guys, please take care of the positive. I love you guys very much. My name is Jonal, and as always, guys, keep the enemy in your crosshair.